to opening a meadery. A mead is simply honey, water, yeast. Basically, it's a honey wine. Um, but we're hoping to open something that's going to be similar to like Rockland is in Gilboa, but here, someplace it's family friendly. It's only going to be open on the weekends. It's going to be highly controlled. Of course, the federal government puts up everything in place to keep me in line, so y'all don't have to worry about that. But if anybody has any questions, it'd be my pleasure to offer any information. Most of y'all know Andy, so I'll let him take it from here. I'm not a very good public speaker, so.
So I used to own Public. I don't know if you guys all went in there, but it was a mainstay here in Roxbury, and it became the place where a lot of people went on Thursday, Friday, Saturday night to meet their neighbors, to have social engagement. And it's something we're missing. We really don't have a spot for everybody to go hang out. And we didn't want to create a bar restaurant because we're not creating a restaurant. We're creating an atmosphere where you can get the mead. We can also serve New York beers. We can also serve New York scotches, as long as it's in New York. So it's a local production only. If you haven't been up to the cidery in Rockland County, this is what it looks like. It's predominantly outdoors. It's family oriented. You can play cornhole. You can go there on the weekends. On Saturdays and Sundays, they have like a local artist performing. The noise is minimal. Parking is situated pretty well in the front, you can see. And it is a great addition for Gilboa. But we need something here. We've got hotels. We've got ourselves living in the community. So we figured to repurpose that barn, it needed to have something kind of fun, low key, and not too high profile. And the meadery really kind of serves all of those purposes. It's great for the tourism, great for the wedding venues, and more importantly for the locals. Where the building is set up, I don't know if you can see this. It's about 220 foot long. There's three portions to it. As you're driving down, it's the low portion, which is 1 story. Then there's the gambrel, which is the second portion. And then at the end is the oldest portion of this. We're going to be using just the half of the lower portion because we really don't need the volume. It's about 2,000 square feet. Inside that, Keith will make the mead, which is for consumption on premises. It's not a distribution. It's not a distillery. It's for what we're going to consume. So there's no picture of distillery. That means trucks. It's not the creamery. This is what we're consuming. Just like you'd make home brew, home beer, we're doing the same thing for just our consumption. On the second floor above this,
Yeah, that would be this one here.
well, first, this is what the ground floor will look like, if you can see that. This pretty much is mirror image of what's there. It doesn't look like this today. We haven't got the floors and it's not pretty. This is the second floor. There's no furniture in that either, but the nuts and bolts are identical. This is more or less what it's like now. At the back of the building, there's a silo. We plan on using the second floor to do light weddings. And we've already got the Roxbury Barn, we've got the Inn at West Settlement, we've got the Stone Tavern. We don't need to compete with that, but we have a great facility here. It's walkable to the hotels, it's walkable to town. So we think it'd be a great addition to the meadery is to have the weddings on the second floor. And again, low impact, good for the community, easy parking, and they can have the receptions at the back of the barn. So you've got complete separation. People coming to have fun, play cornhole in the front, and people enjoying the wedding on the back. That's kind of it in a nutshell.
On this here, it actually shows that separation. The house actually sits right here. This here is Highway 30. Currently, my driveway comes in here and we park for the house over here. There's a second driveway on the property that was put in when the greenhouses were in place, which is right here. We're going to use this one as the main entry point so that we can bring them in. Meadery traffic will move in this direction. If and when the wedding venue opens, that will be exclusively going in this direction and be back here to where they'll have their own private space to do their own thing. And we can continue to do what we do down here. It's not going to be overly large either. We're actually, it's been recommended that we keep our maximum capacity to 96. So just to give you an idea, this is not going to be.
We used to have more than 96 in the public, like every weekend. I mean, that's an easy up here.
So, I mean, I think for the town of Roxbury, this is a winning opportunity for all of us.
And in the front here, I don't know if we mentioned it, but something that none of us can find is outdoor seating. There's going to be a large deck in the front for outdoor seating. It's good for two things. The first thing you see when you come into town is the umbrellas of people having a good time, which as you drive into town right now, you don't see that. If you want to find a restaurant, you have to turn a corner or see the 5 chairs that are sitting in front of Chappie's. We don't have enough outdoor dining areas or spaces to do things. And when it comes to dining, we're planning on using food trucks. We're not planning on building a kitchen here. So when there's on-site food, which is important if you're drinking, there'll be one type of food truck or another, and hopefully locally based food trucks.
The New York State Alcohol Bureau requires that if we're going to serve alcohol to the public, that we have to have prepared foods on site to offer to the public. That's just a state law. So we're intending on cheeses, charcuterie, local vended materials that's prepackaged.
So that's about it in a nutshell. Am I supposed to ask for questions?
Sure, if you want.
Anybody got a question? Now one? Go ahead.
So you said 96 occupants, that would be for the meadery?
Yes.
And then how many would you accommodate? for
They're the same on
wedding?
either floor. It's 96 at any given time on any floor.
Okay,
Yeah.
so when you had a wedding, how much is that?
Max is 96.
That's included, how would you be able to maintain?
There are different floors and different entrances, so they're calculated differently. So 96 downstairs with front entrance is considered one entry, and upstairs is a different entry, so they don't commingle. So there could actually be 180 people on the premise at the same time, but it's 96 per floor, and they can't commingle. There won't be a connection or a bridge between the
Yeah,
two
there's
floors.
no joining.
So it's so the maximum wedding guests you could have would also be 96.
Exactly. As long as they have their own egress and separate entrances and parking, they're considered different buildings. And these are actually 3 separate buildings that is connected at the bridge bump.
Plus, I mean, we all know that there are knuckleheads who would want to have their wedding up here and maybe have it, interrupted by somebody from here. Not to say it's going to happen, but to make sure that we prevent that from possibly happening by separating the two. We've accomplished that.
Yes, sir.
What's your time frame for all this?
Summer next year. Yeah, we still have to go through planning board, and there's hurdles. We're coordinating with DEP to make sure that we have all the things in place. And there's water there, there's electric there, but there's still things we need to put in place in order to make it
Major
work.
Construction, just
Oh, yeah.
Hardly any
inside work. or-
inside work.
All you're going to see on the outside is pretty much landscaping. We do have to have sewer put in and some other facilities, but it's going to be minimal. I can promise you this, we bought the place because we love it, not because we want to change it.
Yeah, the only difference you're gonna see will be the deck and the grading for the parking. And it used to be a car dealership. It's been an auto repair. It's been a nursery. I mean, it's been parking there for the last 100 years. So we're not doing anything different.
I mean, I'm already getting stopped by people in town telling me what a difference we've made since we've been there in the appearance, and it's only going to continue getting better. We ran out of time to do the painting. My wife was here for the summer. She's a teacher at a private school in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, which is where she is now. But she retires at the end of this year, and she'll be up here full time.
With a paintbrush.
Oh, yeah. Well, she's not going to get a chance. I think what we're going to do is you're just going to have to make some and have town people come and help.
Any other questions? Chris?
So, as I said, as we talked earlier, just for everybody's clarification, this will be required to go through our site plan review law.
Yeah.
And through the planning board.
Mhm.
And then, as we talked, I believe you're going to need to make an application for a hookup to the city because it's a commercial
Yeah.
entity, so we would have to, the city would have to approve a hookup. Because our treatment plant is actually owned by the city of New York. It's down in
Yeah.
Grand Gorge.
And you explain that to me, and I've already started following your recommendations.
Other than that, sounds good. Questions? Sounds
If
good.
anybody has any questions, there are some handouts up here that just give some basic, simple answers to some of the most common questions regarding need and what we're doing. My personal information's on here as well, to include my phone, my email. Feel free to call me. Feel free to ask me any question you have.
We'll leave these here overnight if you guys want to take a closer look at them.
Yeah.
They're kind of cool.
It's, and like I said, Want to thank everybody for the time.
you. Sure.
Like I said, my phone number's up there. Look forward to serving everybody.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good night.
Okay, moving on, we do have, a presentation by Peg and David Rainberg about our new website. Okay, David's the presenter. Okay, great. Okay. David has been working on developing a new website for the town of Roxbury, and he's got some preliminary information for us. So I'll give him the floor to see what we're talking about.
You guys can move over if you can't see clearly. But I don't think we need to turn the lights off. Can everyone kind of get a view here?
So I'm just bringing a work in progress version of the site.
Okay.
I'm David Rain, but I've been doing the web design, and Amy Metnick has been working on copy. There's still a lot of work to do in terms of rewriting copy, updating copy, and getting pages built. But I wanted to show you where we're at. So the homepage is probably going to be changing at some point, but I just wanted to point out a few things on it.
Hang tight. Can we hit the lights?
Maybe these ones.
All or nothing?
All or nothing.
Oh, is it? Maybe in the dark.
No, it's back in the front. You can try it, but I think it's gonna be pretty dark. So
All or nothing, really?
I'm only worried about money.
it is all or nothing.
Right here. No. It's just a count. It's not doing it justice to be.
Oh, that's good.
There we go. Okay,
Better.
it's not too bad.
Oh, that's good.
All right.
Okay, much better. So we're streamlining the navigation. As you can see at the top, it's departments, resident info, visit, and then two other sections: applications and permits and public notices. The biggest sections have a large drop-down menu. I can show you what happens with other departments. You'll get the list of departments. And in this demo, the darker links are pages that we've built and links and ones I wanted to show you. So let's just pick one. Let's pick town and Sesame. So each page on the site is going to have a banner image that relates specifically to that page. It's moving, it's not video, it's just animated. Some department pages have a lot of information on them, and some of them have very little. If you scroll down, you can see we have the navigation is static. Just scroll down, see all information. There's a left-hand column on the department pages, and that is to prioritize contact information. So in this case, it's for an elected official, and we would have, for the elected officials, we want to have a portrait photograph here. Emails will be buttons. Phone numbers will be clickable if you're on mobile, so you can just tap it and make a call. There's room also for mailing address, office hours. And if there's a relevant category of public notice from the public notice section, then we can put the most recent public notices in this column too, that's announcements. So in this case, there's 5 recent assessor public notices. And then, and if you were to click on one of those, you go straight to personal practice. Let's look at another example. This is town. There'll probably be more forms on this one, but I wanted to show you one form that we've converted from just a photocopy to a PDF that you can actually fill out. So if there are downloadable forms, they'll appear at the bottom of the page. If you click the PDF, it'll open in a new tab. If their browser supports it, users may fill it out in their browser, or they can download it and either fill it out in Acrobat or print it out, fill it by hand the old way. most forms are probably going to have to be sent with either a check or some other documentation or some other things, and so it can't be fully digitized. Can't be a way to use. Okay, let's look at another example in departments. The highway department, that's just an example of a page with less information, but still has that contact information, name, phone number. Another one, parks. So a little bit more copy there. We can also add more images if we need to on any of these pages. Go to a different section now. Go and look at resident info. 2 pages are in draft form. This one's churches. Detail from there. J. Cool church there. And then emergency services. And then in the visit section, I wanted to show you lodging and dining. So visits, different audience. They want recommendations for places to go and eat or stay. And so what we're doing here is including the most popular businesses in the area, 6 to 12 for lodging and 6 to 12 for dining. Each business will have a small image, short description, and then a link to their website. And then in public notices. So this page will show all the latest public notices and include all the public notices from the old site. But I've only imported the ones up to May, so it's not quite up to date. So there's a bit of work to do in importing and also linking old PDFs and images. And then lastly, I just wanted to show you this widget down here. This is an accessibility widget. This is just a demo one, it's an example one. It means anybody can click this. If people without any accessibility issues will ignore this. They don't need it. But anybody who would like to see bigger text and blow up the size of the type, maybe they need mixed highlighting. So all sorts of different tools they get to use, and on the fully paid version of that widget, there's a lot more options as well. That's it for now.
Lights, camera. See, the application and forms are going to be specific to each department on their department page as well as under the applications and forms.
Yeah, that's weird. If you want to go get to a form quickly, you could go to this menu and just go straight to that form you need. Or you can go to each department and go and find the form that way. Questions? Yeah.
Will there be a search?
A search?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. It's just at the bottom here. So, if we click a search for temp role. I'm only doing search for temp role because I know there's a post titled temp role. I know it's not here. I'm going to do temp. Yeah. So you have like tentative budget, tentative assessment role. Some of these are old blog posts on the old site. They have old thumbnails. Yeah. So it's in the footer of every page. Yes.
First, it looks great, so thank you for your work. The second thing is the board thinking about adding a way of collecting funds on the site itself. So that if you have a credit card, you can put it in and pay your school taxes or your dog license or something like that.
So we, I believe on the current side, there is a link to pay your taxes. Is that right?
We're not doing it right now. We're not doing tax payment online. That's something we've discussed, but we haven't set it up to do it yet.
You can accept school taxes anyway, just
Yeah.
land taxes.
Yeah,
but-
just land tax. But I think it's something that once the site is up and going, it has a capacity. We can set that up if we want.
Yeah, I mean, some of the, I think we would want to look at all the forms first as well, because like the dog license application form is a photocopy of the photocopy, you know, and it could be updated. But even then, we can then enable people to upload photocopies of vaccination records for the dog, you know. And then we could also add a payment option.
The tax payment option within, within InfoTax and within the BAS.gov website, those are separate standalone things, so there would not be a need to build that out on our site.
Right, yeah.
Because it's actually contained in their app.
It's in there already.
So you
that's
link
baked
to
in.
that site and you'd be able to
It's
pay
baked
your
in when the
tax.
town
Yeah.
or the school elect to accept electronic payment.
When we've discussed it, we haven't made a decision.
But yeah, they don't, we don't have to build anything.
No, so we would link to it, yeah, and make that clear, yeah.
Questions for David? I think you did a great job. Good start. We're looking forward to the final finished product here.
It's all right, thank you.
Thank you.
So just a reminder, we're presenting the DRI. We're presenting to the panel on Thursday morning. You guys aren't invited, no. But we'd like to do a run through, hopefully on Wednesday night. So I'll send you guys out an email with a link to Zoom because that's how we're presenting. It's on Zoom. It's a virtual presentation, so you'll get to see what we're doing Thursday morning. So free up some time in your calendar.
Okay. Thursday night?
No, on Wednesday night.
We'll send the email out
Do you ever open it?
once in a while.
Yeah, I'll call you. I'll text you to tell you to open your email.
Meg, while you're right here, why don't we go through the Kirkside Park and Community Resources and then we can get down to that. If you have anything else you want to go over with the grant stuff.
No, just what we talked about at the budget workshop, and we still don't have solid prices yet,
Okay,
but again, it seems more equitable. I would say keep the same amount in the budget and use it if you need it. If you don't, you don't.
right, okay.
Okay, do you need anything more specific from me?
Not right now. I
Okay.
don't think so. Unless, if anybody else on the board has any questions for her, I'm gonna let her go home. Denise, do you have anything?
What were you just talking about Curbside Park?
It wasn't Kirkside Park. it was-
Oh.
No, I was just gonna say, since Peg was already here, I was just gonna have her go first. Do you have anything? We saw your report, I know, Denise, or,
No, I don't have anything that's not
Okay.
really on there unless,
okay.
are you letting me go home too?
Yes, absolutely. Come on, I've got the door.
Bryce front.
As long as you don't have questions.
Is everybody good with Denise's report?
When will the park be closing down?
Kurt, it comes back, I want to say tomorrow. And he knows, like I had called him before, but that's when he's gonna then do his final burst to the end. So he usually like just does it and then tells me he was there. It's on his list, but I will be nagging him a little this week because I know he probably has a very long list. And the big thing that I'm waiting on is the refrigerator repair. They've rescheduled twice now because they have emergencies, which I'm trying not to be an impatient customer because it's not an emergency for us, but I just like to get it fixed. So. But it doesn't matter. They don't need the water on to fix that.
Okay. Water and sewer, Chris, I see that you're on here. If you had anything you wanted to go over with everybody.
Sure. The loop that we did between Lake Street and Roosevelt Avenue is now totally complete. They're just doing some final touch up on some blacktop and stuff like that. Denver Sewer, we just replaced HC2, which is down on Maple Lane or Maple Street. I can't remember. It's the first one. It's where right across from Rita Leibowitz. They just replaced that entire the guts of that entire system. There's now 2 Liberty pumps that are on rails that we can easily access and pull them out when we need to. Before, they were not on rails and they were a pain in the butt to get out of there. So that's a huge upgrade for us on the sewer side. I'm gonna be starting to comply with the new lead and copper rule, which means by 2024, I have to have a detailed listing of every connection that we have to the water main, what that service line is made of. Whether it's copper, whether it's plastic, whether it's PEX, whether it's lead. The goal is to get rid of every lead service line. I don't know of too many that we have in town to start with. I think they're pretty much all copper, but I would like to utilize a mailer to send to people's houses so that they could send it back in. That would, because you're talking about 470 so connections, and I need to know 470 service lines. So if we could cut that in half by a mailer, people could mail it back in, just go down to their basement, look at what the pipe is made of coming through their basement wall. That would be a huge help. I would also like to see if we could somehow utilize the website to, instead of them mailing it in, they could go to the website and fill out a form. That would be a huge, but you know, there are some houses that I will have to go out to and inspect myself if the homeowner doesn't know what they want to do, what it's made of. So
I think a lot of people probably won't know the difference, or at least know what.
Correct. And plus you've got, you've got a huge percentage of people that are second homeowners that are only up on the weekends. So
right,
getting to those houses is going to be a little bit more difficult than the rest, than the locals. But that's where we are with the water and sewer.
Okay. You guys also have in your packets, on the sewer side of things, you have in your packets for a quote for repairing the roof at the Denver sewer plant. We'll do that during resolutions. Just want to make sure that we received it.
And also, I know Kobe has put in a request for a service contract for you for Kinsley. He's getting the estimate for them. For your town generators.
Yeah, I spoke with him the other day about that. We're working on trying to get the generator here and the one at the town, at the highway garage, serviced and ready to go. Hinkley Electric was down there actually the other day and did get the wiring straightened out at the highway garage. So once we get the generator ready to run, there was a problem with it. They didn't have a part for it, which Kinsley will supply. So that's in the works also. Anything else for water sewer?
No, I think that's it on my end.
Okay, do you guys have anything else for Chris? Anybody? No, we're good. Okay, thanks, Chris. Moving on. Highway, we got a written report. Bill is not here tonight. He'll be back, I guess, tomorrow. Is that right? Something like that. Yeah. So I think that's going along. See, we've got a lot of our highway guys here tonight. Or any of you guys have anything you want to talk about? I know we're working through a contract. Probably not going to be in a position to be able to make a decision on it tonight, but we're certainly still working through it and take everybody's stuff in account. So, Stephanie, you want to go through your assessor's report?
Sure, that would be great. So, the usual building lab permit stuff. So, I thought we might start by looking at the PowerPoint presentation that I put together just quickly. So we talked a little bit about the senior exemption and our concern for seniors being able to afford to continue to live here because of their modest increase in social security benefits, inflation, and of course, rising home prices. So defining the aged exemption is different than the enhanced exemption or any other exemption. The owner has to be 65 years old. They have to live here for at least a year. And income is determined differently than enhanced star. It's actually not adjusted gross income like enhanced. It's actually all in. And so Social Security income, people say, well, do you have my statement here? Well, tell me, for this exemption, it's the gross amount, not the net amount that you actually receive. It's the gross amount of your payment. So everything counts for this. So security benefits, gross pension benefits, investment earnings, life insurance proceeds, rental income, everything counts. So the way that the aged exemption is operating right now, 23 seniors received the aged exemption in 2022. In terms of value, those seniors represent, I wrote, 0.25%, 0.25, quarter of 1% of the town's taxable value. It's actually lower than that. It's 0.18, which means that for everybody else in town, they're paying, 2 cents a thousand maybe to allow these individuals to have that exemption. What's happened because people have received, there have been a couple of Social Security benefit increases, and the majority of our seniors actually live on their biggest form of income is their Social Security benefit. And so the concern is that even these modest increases in Social Security benefits may lock them down a level that's a sliding scale, which would translate, if somebody got an extra $100 a month, they may wind up paying, $750 more in taxes, and that would be terrible. So right below that is the current sliding scale. Now this scale, by the way, the current scale, which taps out or tops out actually at 23,500, and you can see that it graduates like that. And by the way, that scale and those percentages and those breakpoints are determined by real property tax law. And so our attorney just helped us, fit in with the law because each level had to be a certain amount and not greater than, that next level. And so you can see that individuals with income right now, gross income, not gross adjusted income, gross income of 23,500 or less actually get 5% off their town tax bill. Now, a word about this current scale right now. This scale, which the town adopted, and we thank you for that, back in 2014, in anticipation of the 2015 rebound, we also presented to the school board. And so we certainly appreciate the fact that when the town adopted this, the Roxbury School Board did also. And so as soon as you adopt this one, which we're going to ask you to do, I'm going to trot this over to the school and ask them to present it to their members. And so once again, we would have a unified table, a very fair table for individuals. So that's the current, scale. And on the next slide, the net effect of enlarging the scale to serve more income seniors, increasing the allowable income amount and the exemption percentage could add as much as potentially 1/10 to 1/5 of 1% of the town's taxable value. Again, so what does that mean in terms of wallet? Pennies per thousand. So maybe somebody's tax bill might go up to, between $2 and $4. And the trade-off again is allowing our seniors to be able to afford to stay in their homes, to age in place. That's the whole point. And so the current scale plus 20% is what we're advocating. And so that 23,400 on the prior scale would translate now to 28,200. 28,200 as a maximum income. And a word about that, in my monthly report, I wrote that a couple of months ago, we did a mailing based on a report that we had gotten from the Department of Taxation and Finance of individuals with adjusted gross income of $34,000 or less. I remember I just said that this is not based on AGI, but that's the only scale, that's the only income that the state really knows about. So they made it available to all of us so that we could then reach out to our constituents and say, where do you land on today's income scale? And then what I included was the 20% increase scale. And so out of that, out of the 143 individuals that received our mailing, we received 37 back, which is not a bad response. And of that number, about 13%, again, it was a very informal survey. I didn't ask people to send me statements or, sign in blood, but about 13 individuals, additional individuals have the potential to qualify. By the way, of those 13, 3 of those people qualified today and they didn't even know about it. So I'm just thrilled that, we picked up 3 people that said, Stephanie, we didn't know that we even, that this was available even today. So basically, we would be picking up 10 people, pennies to the wallet for that increase. Again, why are we advocating for the 20% increase on that table? The current high price of home sales that have gone on in the past 24 months or a little bit longer. Again, to offset the effect of inflation and the increase, even those modest increases in Social Security benefits have already tapped our seniors. So if somebody qualified at the 20% level last year, 3 of them actually went down a level. They went down to 20% instead of 25. And it's a big difference in their school and town tax bill. Big difference. And again, finally, a pickup of seniors that who were previously cut off at the 23,500 level, allowing more Roxbury seniors to stay in place. Again, the net effect of this, we're picking up potentially, if we increase the table, if we can help 10 people, I think we should. So our recommendation is that the board pass a resolution tonight to adopt this table and to ask the town attorney to draft a new local law and to, regarding the new sliding scale, and to publish the law and establish a public hearing. As soon as you guys agree to do that, again, as I said before, we'll be going over to the school and advocating for that as well. As a side note, Alan, I don't know if the supervisors have talked about this yet, but I also shared my mailer and our findings with the county. And I also shared an outstanding table that the Schoharie County Real Property Director put together to demonstrate that, that Schoharie County needed to catch up. I sent that over to Sherry and to Krista. And so we're also hoping, and that will be presented soon, probably at the upcoming meeting.
It hasn't been.
Yeah, because they're probably, working on the numbers. Krista and Sherry are working on that. And so we're hoping also, and by the way, the county income level tops out at 16,000. So out of our 22 seniors right now that qualify for this exemption, I think 5 of them qualified at that level, which is terrible. So we're hoping that the county will take action as well, to be determined. So that's where we are. We're hoping that you will adopt this 20% increase to assist 10 additional individuals age in place. Any questions?
I see Lindsay is on here. Lindsay, do you have any comments or questions about that? And would you want to draft a resolution for us to pass?
Yes, I can do that. So I can set the resolution that the law was introduced, but you will have to review it in order to pass that resolution and set the public hearing. So I can draft that new local law and circulate it for the board's review. And then at the next meeting, you can pass the resolution setting the public hearing and we can go from there.
Okay, and that would be effective with
It
next
will be
year's tax.
effective for the 2023 roll.
2023 tax roll, so we got some time to do it.
That's the goal.
Right.
Okay, all right. Anybody have any questions on that? Good. Okay. Moving on. Planning board, I didn't see a report. Did you get a report from planning board? Haven't seen anything. Also, our building inspector, I did not see anything from him this month either, so. Building and grounds, not too much new to report, other than we briefly talked about before. We are working on getting the generator at this building and the highway garage working. And it'll go under the same service contract that we have now with all the generators for water and sewer. So hopefully within the next month or so, we'll have those up and active for dinner time, so we'll be using. Don't have anything else new other than you guys all received a proposal for signage for the town hall. If we're going to go with those, we would get, if we go with the metal signs, we would get a lead time, probably about 2 to 3 weeks. Otherwise, it's going to be longer. So I guess I need to know what your preferences are as far as what we've come up with. The actual design is kind of vague at this point, but basically it's just going to be a two-way sign down here at the entrance onto Hillcrest Drive at the corner of the property, and then another smaller one at the driveway. And then there will be a sign at the edge of on the front of the building out here. So if you guys are all in favor of that, we'll go forward with it. The sooner the better. Does anybody else have anything like building grounds wise? No? Okay. I think that's all we have for department reports, unless I missed anybody or anything. Any new business anybody has you'd like to discuss? Old business? Okay, I think with that being said, no letters to the board this month, and I'm aware, is that correct, Diane? Okay, I guess at this point, we've been through, we will have to do an executive session, but before that, I'll open it up to anybody in here who would like to have any discussions or have any questions or comments for the board. Go ahead, Robin, that's fine.
I just want to bring something up. I know we've discussed it many, many times, but we're coming to, winter is coming. And we're still concerned about the state of the sidewalks and snow removal for the winter. I saw that Syracuse actually changed their rules. Their board voted and came up with a different plan for the town to actually take responsibility for clearing the town sidewalks. And I know that you have said that we need a special sidewalk district and all the rest of it, but I'm wondering if we can look into how Syracuse was able to change their rules.
I'm sure we can look into it. I'm not familiar with it, but
Okay.
I don't know what they did. I know there are some towns, and Lindsay, I know you're on here, but we've talked about this many times. There are some towns that do have an ordinance in place that requires people to clear their sidewalks themselves or have them cleared within a certain number of hours after a snowstorm. That's a pretty bold thing to do when about half of our residents on Main Street don't live here, because they're all either vacation homes or second homes. So go ahead, Judith.
They get their lawns
That's the only option. for them, is they would
mowed,
have to.
most of them have service people that provide, they clean the Airbnb. So even if they're not here, they should still be responsible for the upkeep and the maintenance and the safety for the community members, from people who actually live here. And it would be the same whether you're a part-time resident completely absent, or if you live here and you're, you know, you have to clear your sidewalks, and if not, there is some kind of fine, or the town clears it and bills you for it.
In the ordinance that I saw that Syracuse enacted, they decided to charge their residents $100 for the year for snow removal and sidewalk maintenance. But they also, I think, did a sliding scale for seniors and people, low income folks, so that it was sort of fair all around. I can send you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Lindsay,
The
Lindsay, do
information.
you want to take a look at that as well? I'm not familiar with it, but I'd be glad to send it on. to
Yes.
you.
Yeah, if you could copy me on that email, that'd be lovely, or forward it to me. I'd love to take a look. My first gut reaction is, well, Syracuse is municipally considered a city, so already a different set of rules apply, but it would be helpful to look at that and see what they did and see if there are other options for Roxbury.
Okay, we'll look into it, see what we can come up with.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
forward that to me and I'll make sure I get it over to Lindsay
I will.
and we can take a look at it.
I will. Thank you.
Okay, does anybody have anything else to talk to the board about tonight at this point? We are going to go into an executive session to discuss some contract issues. We'll finalize all the resolutions after that, so. Nobody has anything else to discuss, I will ask for an executive session.
Next motion, we go executive.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. I'm going to, do we need to have Lindsay? Oh, here she
No,
is. Okay, motion to come back in session, out of executive session.
I make a motion.
Second? I'll second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, moving on, resolutions. Nothing was decided. What?
Nothing was decided.
The results of executive session that was, nothing was decided on ongoing discussions. Okay, moving on, resolutions. Town clerk monthly report, supervisor's monthly report, assessor's monthly report, water district monthly report, justice court monthly report, parks department status report, building inspector's monthly report, which we didn't receive, dog control we didn't receive. Need a resolution for all those.
I'll make the motion.
Second,
Okay.
all in favor? Aye. Resolution to prepay capital projects bills, approval bills.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Okay.
all in favor?
Aye.
Highway contract is tabled for pending further discussion. We have fuel bills. This is something we do need to talk a little bit about. We just had a fuel oil bid come in. Guess what's your pleasure on what's going forward as far as going fixed or going with a adjustable price?
It's big fixed.
We've always done fixed every year.
Wasn't it a gallon? You said gallon.
Well, how did we ever make out with last year or this year when they had the spat about how many gallons we used?
We've not heard anything more about that, have we, Diane?
No, I just get a monthly statement.
They send you a statement every month, but we've not.
Half of them lose money.
No, I was just wondering, I haven't seen any gallons.
No, there's not. It's just fixed price.
All right.
So you want to go with a fixed price bid or you want to go with a?
Make a motion, we go with fixed price bid.
Oh my God.
Second it. All in favor? Expiration that, so. And based on what I heard today from my fuel, that's really not too bad. Yeah. Well, it's a gamble, but if they're willing to do it, we'll go with the fixed bid. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Great, done. Resolution, the 2022-23 demo rates renew plan. Resolution to renew that. Second.
That's all.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we talked a little bit about the town hall signs. We're gonna go with the printed signs and on metal, cheaper, lower price one.
That's fine. The nice ones, though, not the square one.
Huh? No, we're gonna do them in the decorative sign. Yeah.
That's the 1900.
Yeah. Yep. Need a resolution
Are
for
we
that?
getting one sign or two or?
It's all three. It was whatever it was, 1900 or 1800.
I'll make the motion.
But we're going with the printed signs instead of the carved signs. All in favor, do I have a second on that? Or you made a motion. You second it? All in favor? What is this, new building code?
What we got from the email we got from Lindsay?
Oh, okay. Need a resolution to adopt the new building codes.
No, she's going to go over it with
Oh,
us.
okay. Do we need to do a resolution for it tonight, though, or?
She's gonna get us the information. That's what she said in the email that she sent us.
Okay.
Table.
I thought she was gonna present something tonight, but I guess
Is she still on? Lindsay, what do you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Talking about this new building code?
Yes, so there have been updates to the building code under the uniform code. So our town code enforcement provisions need to be updated to reflect the new minimum standards for enforcement. So I'm taking a look at the current code as it stands to see whether whether we need to repeal and enact a brand new law. There's a model law out there that we could just adopt that has all the new minimum standards. But by and large, most of the towns that I've seen so far pretty much already comply, but for a few new provisions, mainly dealing with parking garages, which is really specific.
That's too much.
Right, yeah, so but it still has to be part of the new minimum standards under uniform code. If you could allow me to take a little more time with the current Roxbury law, I can see if we need to repeal it and enact a new one, or we can simply just adopt a local law reflecting the new minimum standards that do need to be added, which I have a feeling is really just going to involve the parking garages. There's also a new list under the uniform code of jobs and work that will require a building permit. It's slightly more extensive than what we already have. And there's another provision regarding operating permits that is slightly more extended under the new minimum standards. It's just more specific and reflects more operations that involve certain materials that have been identified as, having potential environmental impacts. So it's just a little more detail and an extensive regulation there.
Can we table that until next month, till we get a full report?
Yeah, we don't have to vote on that tonight.
Right. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right,
Thanks,
thanks for
Linda.
that. Resolution for the Denver sewer roof code quote. You all had a copy of it?
Yeah.
I had Steve Cameron look at it and he was considerably under the quote we had a year or so ago.
Yeah.
So I'd like to go with that one if we can, get the work done as soon as you can. I need a resolution for that.
I'll second.
Okay. And now we're down to tax cap. We need a resolution to prepare a local law to override the tax cap and set a public hearing
You were
for.
gonna get that law from Lindsay. I never got anything from her.
Yeah, Lindsay, did you have a draft? You and I talked about this, I think, last week.
Yes, I did not have the chance to draft up the local law. So if we can vote on it next month, that would be great.
Well, we need to do a public hearing. We're figuring on for next month. So we would just need the law to put out for next month, but we need to set a public hearing.
Yes, you can set the public hearing and I can send you the draft local law for everyone to review, and then you can post it at on the website and or at the town hall for review prior to the public hearing.
Okay. So we will set that local law for next month, November 10th. And I believe I talked with you, Diane, about this before, that we should start all of our meetings at 7 with the public hearings to go first. And then the general meeting would start directly after the public hearings are done. Does that make sense to you guys? Or do you want to leave it the way we have it now, where we do maybe a 15-minute slot for each public hearing first?
Do the first public hearing, 6:45, and then following the next one.
Okay.
Directly
That
following.
works, okay. 6:45 then. So I need a resolution for that.
I'd make that.
And I'll second it. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Next public hearing would be at
Following.
directly following the end of the 6:45 meeting. Okay, and then we have building inspector's contract. Do we
You
want
wanna
to?
do the motion to schedule it?
Oh, I guess we should probably do that, yes. I need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
A second,
Second.
all in favor? With our building inspector contract, we need to look at either adopting that as is, re-adopting it, or looking at making changes. Like to review that, public personnel committee review that, see if there's any changes that we feel we need to make.
Are we good?
Yep, you can go back. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, Beth.
We've done essentially the same contract for many years.
Yeah, I don't think we have to review it. We adopt the same.
And good neighbor policies.
So what are we doing anything on the building inspector?
We're gonna re-adopt it as the same.
Do you want to do a motion for that?
I'll make a motion. They're gonna do it the same.
Second, all in favor?
Yep.
Okay. Your good neighbor policy, have you got
I
it
didn't update
finalized?
it, no.
Okay, so that's tabled for now. An announcement that Tire Day will be on October 22nd from 8 AM to 4 PM at the Highway Garage. Yep. And people that are dropping off tires require a transfer station permit. And the requirements that we have for the transfer station. We received a copy of the water project cost updates to the board. Just some remaining announcements. We do need to determine what we're going to do with it. Have you heard or talked to anybody else about commercial fire inspections? Has there been any?
I haven't talked to anybody.
Okay, I haven't. We're gonna need to look into that. anybody knows of anybody else, I'll try to do some research on it as well. Creamery water usage issue, I have not been able to speak with anybody at the creamery yet either about that. I don't think that's happened again since the last time, has it? I know of. It was just the one time. And we had the presentation concerning the water and sewer hookup. I've talked to them. Basically what they're gonna have to do. I think Lindsay, you're still on there, but I did speak with Kevin about this. What they're gonna have to do is there's an application that's gonna have to be submitted to the city for request to hook up to the sewer. And they are working, they're working on getting an engineer involved, I guess. So that'll be pending.
Okay.
Lindsay, do you know anything more about that? I did speak with Kevin about it earlier this week.
Kevin is our resident sewer water guru, so I
Yeah.
would refer to him for everything.
Okay, I'll continue to work with him on that. I just,
Okay,
and I did talk with him about it, and that's what he said would need to happen. Is that they would have to apply to the city for permission to put it into our septic.
okay. Thanks.
What about the water use?
The water use, again, they came wanting, thinking that they needed a 2-inch water service, but he uses very little water from what he tells me. It's not like they're flushing tons of water through like a brewery would be or something like that. So I questioned him a couple times on why he needs a 2-inch water main to the building. And basically I told him that you need to have your engineer put together some kind of a proposal explaining both what the sewer and the water usage and expected discharges are gonna be. And then we'll size the water system based on that. So that's kind of where I left it with him. So he had approached Chris about doing a water hookup for the barn. And he wanted a 2-inch water main put in there, or a 2-inch water line put in there.
We know this.
Which is the cost of, we're concerned about how much water they're gonna actually use. So that's where we're at. Last thing we have is pay the bills. You guys, Macker and.
Yep.
Went through it. Everything okay?
Good. They were beautiful.
Resolution,
I will make a motion.
second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Okay. That being said, I guess we're good. And said November 8th will be our next meeting. It's gonna be Tuesday.
No.
No, that's election day, the 10th.
Is that election based on the firehouse or?
Yeah. This one, it's down at the firehouse.
The next one, are we good to go with?
I think we're working on it. I went back and forth elections, but didn't they come do an inspection or something not too long ago? This week? Yeah. That's for waiting. Resolution to go home. Did we do that? We did that.
You know it.